Tradition. It's a sacred asset woven into the fabric of all that we are. And it lives here, in the bayou, in the walls of the great LSU. To be remembered, to be respected, and to those that oppose it, to be feared. Tradition lives in Memorial Tower, in the honor of our military, and the resonating strength of the old war school. It's in the stately oaks and broad magnolias, on the banks of the big river, and in the sights and sounds of a Saturday in fall. Tradition lives in Tiger Nation, clad proudly in purple and gold, in the mighty roar that resonates through Death Valley when the golden band begins to play. Tradition lives in the legends that once walked these grounds, in those who wrote our history as champions. Tradition lives in the hardware, in the ring, worn in honor by alumni, and the trophy hoisted proudly by champions. In the whites, and the golds, in the box, and Death Dome. In each and every moment we witnessed greatness. Tradition lives here, and is forever LSU.
Tiger fans, please welcome home to the great state of Louisiana, Coach Kim Mulkey. Thank you all so much for joining us today on what is, without a doubt, one of the most significant days in the history of LSU athletics. When you look at these banners on the ceiling of the Pete Maravich Assembly Center, and you look at the tremendous legacy that has been created for women's basketball here, and today we are going to enhance that tremendous legacy. These young ladies sitting in front of me, these young ladies will continue that legacy with their new head coach, and we can't wait for them to get started. So just a brief summary of our format for today. First of all, we'll have a number of guest speakers who will be joining us that I know you all love to hear from. We'll also have a press conference after Coach Mulkey gives her remarks, so we'll look forward to that as well. Before we begin, I want to recognize a number of dignitaries that are with us, and we're so pleased that they're here today. We'd like, first of all, to welcome the chairman of the LSU Board of Supervisors, Mr. Robert Dampf. We're also honored to have with us the Louisiana Commissioner of Higher Education, Dr. Kim Hunter-Reid. And we are pleased to have with us today Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards. All right, we'll begin with our first guest speaker. It's a pleasure to introduce to you a gentleman who has directed our university in such an incredible fashion for the past year and a half. Please welcome LSU Interim President Tom Galligan.
Good afternoon and welcome. I appreciate all of you joining us today as we introduce our new women's basketball head coach, Kim Mulkey. And I want to add my thanks to Governor Edwards for you being here, and Kim Hunter-Reid and all the board members. Heck, I want to thank you all for being here because it is a wonderful day. Governor, I never take my mask off, but I'm going to take my mask off today. Before I go on, I do want to thank Coach Vargas for her great service to LSU and wish her all the best in her future endeavors. Thank you, Coach. Well, Coach Mulkey needs no introduction. She is one of a kind. A 3-time national champion as a head coach, a 2-time national champion as a player, and a member of 9 Halls of Fame. And she will be inducted by Michael Jordan into the Nesmith Memorial Hall of Fame next month. Coach Mulkey was the fastest coach, man or woman, ever to reach 600 wins in Division I history. But Coach Mulkey's impact extends far beyond the basketball court. In her tenure as head coach, 100% of the many players who started and completed their careers with her graduated. At LSU, she will develop, guide, and lead student athletes who leave our university with a world-class education. She has demonstrated throughout her career the ability of athletics to advance and unite the entire institution. She will represent LSU as a passionate ambassador of our university on a national and even international stage. She will be a valuable asset to LSU through the pride she displays and the standards she sets on the court and, just as importantly, off the court. Coach Mulkey represents the very best of Louisiana, and we are fired up to welcome her back to her home state and to LSU. Friends, one of the most accomplished and respected coaches in American sports history is now a Tiger. The future is incredibly bright for LSU's women's basketball and for our entire athletic program and university. To use a pandemic-appropriate metaphor, today is a shot in the arm for LSU, and the reaction is positive. I'll now turn the microphone over to Mary Werner, who serves as the Athletics Committee Chair on the LSU Board of Supervisors. Mary, it's all yours, and thank you. Go Tigers!
Thank you, President Galligan. On behalf of the LSU Board of Supervisors, I am so proud to say, welcome home, Coach Mulkey. Today is a homecoming for Kim, who grew up just down the road in Tickfaw and spent the first 38 years of her life here in Louisiana. I'm not sure how we let you get away, but I am so thrilled that we've gotten you back. You know, we love making history here at LSU, and this is definitely a historic day. With 3 national championships, 23 regular season and conference tournament championships, and a home awaiting her, as Tom said, in the Naismith Memorial Hall of Fame this month, Coach Mulkey's resume is unlike any other coach we have ever welcomed to LSU. One of her childhood friends happens to be sitting here in the audience, and he knows, like we do, that she's been making history all of her life. As a 12-year-old, she was the only girl competing on a Dixie League baseball team where she made the All-Star team. Girls, I want you to remember that. You can do anything you want to. In high school, she led her Hammond High team to 4 straight basketball state championships. As a college player, she led her team to the very first NCAA Women's National Championship in 1982. In 1984, she then helped lead the United States to our first ever Olympic gold medal in women's basketball. In 2005, she became the first person ever to win an NCAA championship as a player, an assistant coach, and as a head coach. And as Tom said, last year she became the fastest coach to win 600 games in Division I men's or women's basketball. We aren't just welcoming home one of our own today, a winner, but we are welcoming home a trailblazer. Coach Mulkey, we can't wait to see what you have in store for history here at LSU. Now, on behalf of all of LSU and the Board of Supervisors, I'd like to present you with a little something. Coach Mulkey, this is the LSU win bar. And now I'd like to introduce the LSU Athletic Director, Scott Woodward.
Welcome, everyone. This is truly a great day for LSU athletics and governor for the state of Louisiana. Kim, I know Michael Jordan will be introducing you in the Naismith Hall of Fame next month, but you'll have to settle for me today. Skip Harris, my friends, I'm flabbergasted by this excitement and what we have today. And I want to thank everyone for being here as we welcome Kim and her family home. Included in her family is her daughter, Mackenzie. Mackenzie, please stand. And Mackenzie's wonderful husband, Clay Fuller. And their wonderful son, Cannon, wherever you are. He was with Uncle Kramer, but now he's checking out the scoreboard. And, of course, as I was teasing Coach Mulkey earlier, she's got real big shoes to fill here at LSU with her son, Kramer, having been an LSU great on the baseball team here. Thanks for coming in, Kramer. And thank you all for being here, all the family and friends of Coach Mulkey. It really means a great deal to us, and it affects us from the bottom of our hearts, and we're excited about it. Before I go on, I really want to mention three things, three people or organizations who are really the unsung heroes on this, and this is unscripted. Really, Coach Dee Bro for just being relentless and helping convince Coach Mulkey that this was her home to come back to. Our senior administrator and deputy, Stephanie Remp, who makes it all happen. I'm just a titular head. She and Verge do a wonderful job here. And then finally, an organization who always answers the call to do anything and be there all the time, and that's the Bingle Bells. Thank you so much. One of the challenges that comes with the job of being athletics director is making difficult decisions. Frankly, this was not one of them. There are great coaches all over this country, but it's not every day you get to hire a champion. That's exactly what Kim Mulkey is, a champion, period. At LSU, we've watched from down the road as she won 4 state championships at Hammond High School, where she was also her school's valedictorian. We have watched from down the road as she won 2 national championships as a player and another as an assistant coach. We have watched from down the road as she has won 3 national championships as a head coach. The next championship Coach Mulkey wins we all will be watching from the front row here in the PMAC. And as impressive as her past accomplishments are, I believe Coach Mulkey is just getting started. What you learn pretty quickly when listening to Coach Mulkey is that she has a championship mentality in everything she does. She wants to win on the court, she wants to win in the classroom, and she wants to win in the community. That's who she is, and that's who LSU is. LSU's elite coaches and student athletes who pursue victory relentlessly and leave championship legacies in all its wakes of their lives. That's who Kim Mulkey is. If you play for her, you will finish your career with a diploma in one hand, and there's a pretty darn good chance you'll finish with a championship ring on the other. LSU is its people and its fans. We are unrivaled in our passion and our pride. Our traditions begin and bring us together, and our culture sets us apart. That's who Kim Mulkey is. She's the most passionate coach in the country. She's the most authentic coach in the country, and she instills pride in her players, her program, and her institution. Most importantly, LSU is home. It's my home. It's your home. It's our home. That's where Kim Mulkey is now. The best coach in the country is coming home to Louisiana. On behalf of all the Tigers in the world, it is my honor to welcome home the head coach of your LSU Tigers, Coach Kim Mulkey.
Thank you. Whew! Where are all those Tangipahoa Parish people? Well, I'm going to take this damn mask off. Because I have a lot to say. First of all, Kramer's mom has come home. I would like to thank the administration at LSU. While I don't know all of you personally, I want to thank everybody that made this happen. This doesn't just happen with a phone call. It takes a lot of people pulling a lot of strings and committing to women's basketball. I've been at Baylor 21 years of my life. I built that program from the ground up. I should say we built that program from the ground up. Can you believe there's only one institution I would have left for, and they made the commitment, and I'm home. I too would like to thank Scott. Scott talks my language. It took a 10-minute phone call from him to get me to come to LSU. And then, like all great athletic directors and leaders, they better have people and women around them that are smarter than they are, right? Stephanie, where are you? Ramp, Stephanie, you better stay at LSU a while, girl, because you did all the work to get me here. You showed me the numbers. You talked to me. You got me through all the emotional moments. Thank you. Dee Dee Bro, where are you? Dee Dee Bro. Dee Dee Bro could sell ice to an Eskimo. Thank you, Dee Dee. Paul Maneri, where are you? Paul, you took a cocky little boy and made him a man. and to you I'm forever grateful. I'm not sure what other coaches are here. Forgive me if I know you're here and I don't acknowledge you. I'd like to talk about Governor John Bell Edwards. John Bell is not as good looking as his daddy Frank was, nor was he as smart as his mama, who worked at Lolly Kemp Charity Hospital in Independence. When you grow up, you don't forget where you come from. And two people who grew up in Tangipahoa Parish on opposite ends grew up during integration. And where did he go to school? He went to the schools in Amite public schools. Where did Kim Mulkey go? She went to all the schools in Hammond. And somewhere in between there, they knew where Tickfall was. They knew where Independence was. They knew where Ponchatoula was. They knew their parish, because that parish made us who we were. This state made us who we were. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate what you mean to the state of Louisiana. Your brother Daniel is now the sheriff. His wife is a judge. And it's just so unbelievably comfortable for me to come back to my roots. Thank you, John Bell. I would like the current women's Tiger basketball team to stand up, please. I want you to see those banners behind you right there. Final Four, Final Four, Final Four, Final Four. Nowhere on there does it say national champion. That's what I came here to do. You may be seated. I like them already. In talking about national championships, it doesn't happen overnight. Let me remind you, rabid LSU fans that can be crazy and want coaches fired tomorrow, give it time. Give it time. But I can assure you that's what I came here to do. I'd like to also introduce my family, which has been introduced, but I can't go without acknowledging it. My mom, Drew, still lives in Hammond and Tangipahoa Parish. My daughter, Mackenzie, and her husband, Clay. My grandson, Cannon, and Mackenzie has a granddaughter in that belly that will pop out here in a couple months, Sage Avery. Will y'all please stand up? Okay. Oh, I almost forgot. I have a son. Kramer, is that you? Kramer Robertson, all the way here from St. Louis and the Cardinals baseball organization. Have I said lately, it's good to be back home? When I left North Louisiana and Ruston 21 years ago, I took a job in Waco, and I was on a mission, my very first head coaching job. Spent 19 years of my life in Ruston, Louisiana. We won 23 Big 12 championships, including regular season and tournament. We won 3 national championships. We graduated every player that ever finished in a uniform for me. I had many opportunities to leave, and this is the only one that could get me to leave. Thank you again for bringing me back home. LSU is a very, very prideful institution of higher learning. You know what it feels like to win championships. You know what it means to a community and to a state when you're a winning program. I know what it means. And I can assure you, I didn't just come here to win championships. I came here to make an impact at the right time at an institution that needs something really positive. I came back to my home state. If you have followed my career, I've said it numerous times. No matter where I go to coach, no matter where my career takes me, Louisiana is my home. I can't wait to eat some Ponchatoula strawberries. I can't wait to have some crawfish. You think I'm being funny, but it's just the God's truth. I miss my food from Louisiana. I can now tell Boudreaux and Thibodeau jokes, and people don't look at me like I've lost my mind. Be patient. Understand it will not happen overnight. Raise your hand if you have already put a deposit down for your season tickets. Okay, now I'm going to put you on the spot like a good politician does. Raise your hand if you haven't. Get them up, get them up. Why not? What are you waiting on? It's the end of the month. You get your paycheck next month. You can put a deposit down right now and buy a season ticket. I heard that just today, 600 have already put deposits in for season tickets. When you are hired to lead a team, sometimes it's teams that have never experienced winning. They don't even know what it feels like. That's not the case with women's basketball at LSU. Those of you who remember the Simone Augustus, the Tamika Johnsons, the Sylvia Fowles, they had the PMAC rocking, except when they played against Kim Mulkey in the Final Four, right? I have great admiration for that lady's banner and that woman on that banner right there, Sue Gunter. If I can do what Sue Gunter did for LSU, Scott can't fire me. What a heck of a coach she was. It's no secret, I do coach with passion. I do coach with intensity, but I think I learned that from the great state of Louisiana. We're fighters here. I'm going to fight for my team. I'm going to fight for LSU, and I'm always going to fight and defend the state of Louisiana. I can't build this program alone. You can forget that. I cannot build it alone. I have to introduce, and I would like them to stand up as I talk and tell you who they are, my staff. Some of them, not all of them, that are going to come here from Baylor with me. Don't pat me on the back. Pat those guys on the back. They do all the work. Pat those guys on the back. They will be beating the bushes to bring recruits to LSU. I'd like to start. Johnny Derrick. He really wants to retire, and I won't let him. Johnny Derrick is he's a Louisiana guy from Duboc, Louisiana. Jennifer Roberts. Jennifer is a Shreveport, Louisiana girl. Jordan Westbrook. Jordan is from Indianapolis, Indiana, and she's been at Baylor a long, long time. And when I tell you she's a jack of all trades, ask Jordan, and she can do it before you think about it. I'd like to introduce Kaylin Rice. Kaylin has an 8-week-old little girl back home, and her 6'8" daddy is taking care. So if they don't look like Mutt and Jeff, she's 5'2" and he's 6'8". Kaylin Rice. Daphne Mitchell. Daphne played her collegiate basketball at Georgia Tech. Daphne, as you can tell, she probably knows a thing or two about post play. Please welcome them. Please thank them for being here. To LSU, to you fans, to everybody that loves LSU, we need your help. Don't wait until we start winning to buy your season tickets. You have to help us get to that level of winning. When the game is close and tight, just one sellout crowd will help us get there. I'm going to hit you up. You think D.D. Bro has worked y'all for 43 years? You ain't seen nothing yet. I am proud and I am honored to be your next women's basketball coach. Thank you for bringing me home. Thank you for trusting in my abilities. And as Coach O says, go Tigers.
All right, now we'll come to the portion of the press conference portion of today's event. Our esteemed members of the media are here this evening, and we'll turn the floor over to them. Media, we have some roving microphones here, so we'd ask that if you have a question to raise your hand, and one of our microphones will come to you. So please wait until you get the microphone to ask Coach Mulkey a question. So we'll go ahead and start with Ron Higgins. Thank you.
Two questions. One is, what did Scott say in his 10-minute conversation to convince you? And second, how many moving trucks are you going to need for your wardrobe?
Our conversation lasted maybe 10, no longer than 15 minutes. All he said was, Kim, it's time to come home. And I asked him a couple of questions that were very... it was just more of a compassion. I asked him questions. I asked him questions about things that I really don't need to share with you, but it was more compassion and care than anything else. I think Scott and I were on the same page in that it wasn't just about basketball. It was about a lot of things that he thought I could help him with, not just at LSU, but in the state of Louisiana. And it touched home. It touched home with me, and it touched my heart.
Hey, Kim, Scott Ravellet from the Advocate. Obviously, you knew a lot about LSU being from this part of the state, but your years coming to the games when Kramer was playing baseball, did that influence you at all? Did that plant any kind of seed to think that this could be a place where you might like to wind up?
Well, Kramer's influence, Kramer came to LSU because he wanted to play for a national championship. And I didn't need to see the crowds at his game to know what LSU was about. You must remember, I watched Brad Davis catch that ball against Ole Miss. That's a Tangipahoa Parish guy. I watched Burt Jones quarterback. When you're from Louisiana, you just keep up with sports. So I have an amazing memory when it comes to the history of athletics. I could name you Dale Brown's 5 with Eaton Martin, Rudy Macklin, Jordy Hultberg, and the list goes on. You just know sports. I watched my butt get beat by Simone Augustus and Fowles and all those kids, Tamika Johnson. I already knew how special a place it can be. And at those baseball games, never, ever did I think I would be at LSU, ever. But I am, and I'll say this, God works in mysterious ways.
Hey, Kim, Michael Cobble from WBRZ here in Baton Rouge. The roster building that you're going to have to undertake, how will you approach that, given the transfer portal and the things that are available to you now? What do you feel is your greatest need, and how will you go about tackling that task?
Well, I don't think it's fair to ask me that today because I have not worked with these young ladies. You have 3 of them that I talked to on a Zoom call today. I did not evaluate their talents before I took this job. That wasn't something that was important to me. My job is to develop players. My job is to recruit to LSU. I know the abilities of my coaching staff, and that's not all of them. I know what we can do. I just don't want you to be misled that you think I can take a team and overnight play for championships. But I can take a team and make them better each day. And then we will, as we work with them, we will be able to identify strengths and weaknesses, what we need, and then head out and go get the best talent we can to represent LSU.
Chested Boucher with WVLA. Coach, you are a player's coach. What did you tell your girls at Baylor, and also what was that conversation like with your team here now in Baton Rouge?
What did I tell my players? It's what you can imagine. When you invest in a young person's life and you tell them you're leaving, you feel a great sense of remorse, sadness, because they came to an institution because of you and the program that you built. So you can imagine it was a many, many tears shed. And all I could tell them was I was going home, that I was going home, and that I loved them, and that I hoped that they could understand and not be angry at me, but it's just a feeling in my gut that it was time to go home. What did I tell the current players? They can probably answer that better than you can. I introduced myself to them, my staff to them, and in return, I wanted them to introduce themselves. And it wasn't in great detail. It wasn't a big rah-rah speech. It was mainly an introduction, and that let's go win some basketball games.
Okay.
Hey, Coach, Jared Joseph at Fox 44 in Baton Rouge. You've spoken multiple times about having the championship culture here at LSU. What is your first step to building this program towards that?
Well, we can't, it's not going to happen overnight. I'm going to repeat that over and over. I've got to go empty a closet. I got to go pack a house. I got to empty an office. We've got a lot of work to do there in order to get here. And then after you get settled in here, many of them will be home if they're not in summer school. So then you got to get a schedule going. Where are they going to be during the summer? Can we have individual workouts? Can we have team workouts? And then June 1 gets here, and then you got to hit the road recruiting. Will my staff be filled at that time? So it's a lot of things to do, and we will do it as quickly as we can, but we won't go and do any shortcuts. I won't hire a staff if I'm not comfortable just to fill a spot. I want the right people. And does that help you a little bit?
Hey, Coach. Jacques Doucet, WAFB-TV. LSU hiring somebody of your magnitude, what message do you think it sends to the country, not only about LSU athletics, but the institution and what direction it's heading from this point forward?
Well, I want to say this. It's hard for me to hear when you say a coach of my magnitude. I'm very uncomfortable when I hear that. Thank you, but I don't view myself that way. I honestly view myself as that little girl from Tickfall. I came from humble beginnings. I have been blessed in my life to play with some of the greatest players to ever play this game. I have been coached by legends, Leon Barmore, Pat Summitt, the list goes on. I was never going to be a coach. My degree's in business administration. I was working on my master's degree at Louisiana Tech, had received a postgraduate scholarship from the NCAA for graduating summa cum laude and all that stuff. I was going to be a CEO and fly all around the country. Dr. F.J. Taylor, then the president at Louisiana Tech, had different plans for me. As I was sitting in class working on my master's, he sent campus police to the classroom. And naturally, you think that it's a bad, tragic situation. And the police said, when your class is over, Dr. Taylor would like to see you on the 16th floor of Wiley Tower. So I trucked up there. Actually, I ran up 16 flights of stairs. And he convinced me to help Leon Barmore, once Sanja Hogue retired, to get into coaching. Now, I have to be honest with you, and these guys are going to feel that way just as I did as a player. I wanted no more Leon Barmore. I was tired of him. I'd already played for him for 4 years. I was moving on. I loved him, though. It was just time to say, The man wouldn't take no for an answer. So he knew more about what I needed to do in life at that age than I did. 36 years later, this is what I've been meant to do in life. I think the statement, if I can say this, how do you get a coach to leave an institution that has had so much success? I think that's what everybody's wondering. And the first thing you're going to wonder is, God, she got a boatload of money. My boat does not float because of money. But let me also tell you, my very first paycheck as a coach, head coach, was for $125,000, and I thought I was the richest kid in the world. All I wanted was resources. I wanted resources that I could sell to young people. I wanted an institution that I could be proud of. I wanted them to leave with a degree in their hand, and I wanted the resources to be able to hire staff to make me look good. And everywhere I've been, those things have happened. Yes, it did take some money to get me away from Baylor, but that wasn't the deciding factor. I can assure you, anybody that knows me, I'll wear the same warm-up for a whole season in practice because I'm too lazy to go spend money and buy something else. So I hope, Scott, that Nike contract that you renew, you can save some money on me. Give it to somebody that likes to wear Nike every day. I'll wear the same old stuff every day. Does that help answer your question a little bit? Go Tigers.
Hey, Kim, Andrew Doak to your back left.
I hear you.
Hey, how you doing? CBS in New Orleans. Could you dive a little bit deeper into your relationship with Dee Bro and why that brought you here to LSU? And was that a big factor in you wanting to return home?
Well, Dee Bro, I actually recognized her from afar through the years. And I asked Dee this today. Dee, who was your coach at Southeastern in Hammond, which you all know that's where I'm from? And she told me. I said, yeah, that's who I'm talking about. So you knew who Dee Bro was. I watched her gymnastics teams on TV. I watched the crowds and how people loved her and loved the program. Did not really know Dee personally. But my God, in the last week, I feel like I've known her my whole life. Dee Bro talks my language. She talks my language. And I will certainly call on her and Paul Maneri and everybody else that comes across in my path at LSU for help. You say, help? Oh, yeah. I need help. I need help. I need help with fans. I need help with administrators. It takes everybody helping and pulling for each other. I'm one of these that Ed Orgeron may have to throw me off the field because I might go out there and run a tight end play across the middle when he's throwing to the receivers too much. I might go out there and tell Paul Maneri he's leaving that guy on the mound too long. But the thing they know, I'm a coach's coach too. I will defend a coach in a heartbeat. So don't ever come around me talking bad about a coach because you're barking up the wrong tree.
Kim, Wilson Alexander from The Advocate over here on your, there you go. Hey, just the timing of all this. When did you and LSU start talking to each other, and then when did you make the decision?
Timing in everybody's life. The timing in your life is so important. If it doesn't feel right at that time in your life, you don't do it. If it feels right, you do it. And that's another part of why I'm here. It just felt right. The timing in my life, it felt right. Specifically to answer your question, an introduction phone call was made, let me think, last week, early in the week. An offer was made the latter part or the middle of the week, and then I mulled over it and contemplated over it until yesterday afternoon. And I thank Scott, Stephanie, Dee. I know they wanted an answer immediately. Guys, you can't give an answer like that immediately. And I wanted to cover all my bases at Baylor. I wanted to visit with my family. I wanted to visit with my team, lastly. And the decision was announced yesterday as right after I told my team at Baylor, I think the women's